Okay, so for this exercise, you'll need a piece of arch. Well, if you don't have arch paper, something a really good quality cotton cold pressed piece of paper. It's like a 4x6 size. I taped down on a piece of cardboard just to keep it in place with some Scotch Magic tape. You'll need an old little credit card, right? Some gold watercolor, metallic gold. Now I've got a bunch in this palette. There's a palette similar to this in my Amazon shop. Click the link in my description to find that. But there's also holbein watercolor. This is a little bit thicker, which I put on my palette. And then we'll use some brushes, and we're going to use some other colors. We're going to use some other watercolor colors. So take a big size brush just to get this whole surface area painted. I have a 16 and I have a 12. Where's my 16 brush? I'm just going to take my 16 round Aqua Elite. Use whatever brush you have. Going to loosen up some wonderful Paynes gray. You can actually loosen up some burnt sienna too. A little brown tint to it. Or even mix ultramarine blue deep and burnt sienna to get a nice gray there as well. And we're going to start to put this gray in. So it's wet on dry. Obviously, you can see me getting this dry paper wet with the paint. I'm adding in the colors. I'm going to add some more blue and burnt sienna. It adds like a nice blue tinge to it, more than gray, or you could have it more gray. And you don't have to, you don't want basically a solid surface. You want kind of various tones in it. So some areas can be darker than others. And more of the Paynes gray, and I'm going to grab some more burnt sienna, kind of throwing that color in a little bit. Oh, I don't want to have brown there. Get more of the blue. Kind of get rid of that. So we got this lovely little wash of color happening here. You can make it a little bit darker on the edges if you want. Not too dark though. It will dry later. So we have this wonderful bluish gray color. Now we're going to take our gold paint. You could use the tube paint, or you could use the paint from one of these palettes that I talked about. And we're going to just tap and splatter a little bit of this paint, kind of going downward this way and that way. Now you want it kind of thick. You don't want it really watery, because you don't want it to be so watery that it's going to spread on the actual watercolor that's in here. And I always kind of tap my paint on top of like a brush or pencil or something. Kind of going downward like this way, and then downward this way up. See, now that's very wet, so it's kind of dissipating like that, and this is not as wet. So a little bit thicker paint. I can grab the tube paint. It's this gold shimmer. Just like that. This kind of line going this way and that way. Now while it's drying, we're going to take our wonderful credit card and we're going to scrape branches. So you just kind of scrape where a branch would kind of connect it into these things. So you see how I just kind of twist and turn that? I'll zoom in so you can see better. So you kind of twist and turn, scrape, make all these little lines with the branches. And what happens is the paint folds back into the wonderful scrape that you did. It will not work if it's dry. So you want to kind of do it when the paint's starting to dry. And it will work nicely. Some of this drying over here, I might have waited too long. It's starting to happen, but you really got to get in there pretty quickly. So this is a very quick exercise. Scrape away. Now if it's dark, you're not going to see it as much. Obviously you want it where it's this happy medium, where it's like a medium green, blue, gray color, and you can see the branches coming down. Worst case scenario, you can always paint them in, right? But here's the little scraping tool, which is your credit card to create the branches. Now it's starting to dry. I'm going to take some cadmium yellow deep. Remember, bittersweet is like yellow and orange, and then cadmium red light. You can splat some of that cadmium red light around those little branches that you made. Kind of close to the paper. Kind of close right there. And you want it thick. You don't want it to move as much, right? You want it to be able to move it, but you don't want it super loose again, so it's going to splatter everywhere and start to blend out. The cadmium red light on that blue is fantastic. You see, I'm getting excited. Some of it's dissipating the yellow. When you get the yellow kind of thick, we have this wonderful bittersweet with a little gold in there. It's such a cool look. Now I'm grabbing the yellow. It's fairly thick, you can barely move it. Right out of the tube. Same thing. Oh. The gold is pretty much the yellow, but a little bit of bright yellow helps too. Especially down here. Okay, now that doesn't want to play. I'm gonna have to add a little bit of water here. Okay. Almost like live television is screwing me up. There we go. A little bit of yellow. It's making tiny drops. I might have to add more water to make big drops. And this section down here is kind of drying quickly. Got that yellow. I think the cadmium red light and the gold itself is pretty much all you kind of really need. A little bit of this again down here. Got some water in there by accident. Look at that look though. It's really cool. It's one of my favorite things I've done this week. Just having fun splattering some color. Go back and add some gold. This is the holbein. So this is so thick, it's almost like having gouache. Or I can grab the palette that I have over there. This one that I got kind of on Amazon. They have some great colors in here. There's like this copper color. Okay. Well, it wanted to work and then it doesn't. I'm trying to get right on those branches. You can really see the branches up here. You know, worst case scenario, you don't see the branches. And then you just grab a pencil, a paintbrush, an 8 long round aqua elite. I'll grab some burnt umber or just even some Paynes gray. Fairly thick. I don't want it to be super loose. You can go in here and you can make some branches, which is kind of cool. You can kind of go back in and add the branches as you see fit. Make them a little bit darker. But just the scraping alone, if you had it dark enough, and it's a happy medium between not super dark but not super light, where you can get in there and scrape and see the lines. This part came out really good because that was just, it was seeping into the paper right on those little lines. And if you can go back in with your watercolor and make some darker branches, maybe a little bit bigger, it's kind of cool. Super easy. This would be great if it's much bigger, but I think for cards, it's just like really cool look. Make it smaller for place cards for Thanksgiving. So many different things you can do with this. And even though we splattered a lot of the gold, if you feel like certain areas didn't have it, you just go back with your gold paint and you fill in the areas. Just kind of tap in what you feel like you want to add. Maybe thicker tippy taps along some of these branches that were kind of missed because you splattered. Remember, don't make them like dot, dot, dot. Kind of put them in clusters so they don't look like they're goofy. A little few over here. But I love the metallic with the red, a little bit of the yellow. Same thing with the cadmium red light. You can get a thicker right out of the tube once this paper is starting to dry. And it will get a little bit, see, it kind of just lost its luster of color, dissipated on the blue. You can get it right out of the tube a little bit thicker, and you have this great look right out of the tube on that blue. Even some of this yellow. Play around with this. It's bittersweet. You get that yellow and orange. Super cool. This was a really fun one to do. And then just remove your wonderful tape. I'm just going to clean up this paint so it doesn't splatter everywhere. Now I always peel the tape away from the paper See, dragging it away, and it won't rip it. And you get this nice clean line. You could turn it into a card by using some black cardstock. Some black cardstock, and you have this beautiful card. Look how gorgeous that is. And it took 2 seconds, really. It's so easy to make, and someone would really like that. So wasn't that fun? I think it's cool. And if you're a Patreon member, you get the extra tutorial where we're doing a vase and doing the bittersweet in the vase, splattering, having fun. I go over this step by step. If you want to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box to join. You can join and cancel anytime. You get all kinds of perks with that. And it helps support my free content here on YouTube. So I hope you have fun painting this. I know I had fun painting both of these. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.